Hey guys, welcome back to another Minecraft episode. Today is another episode of Heropacks, a series where I go over the progress I've made in my Hero Pack data pack. And without further ado, let's get into it. Just make sure you guys, leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new to the show. There's always going to be up to 3 segments in this video. However, for today, there's only going to be 2. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so for the first segment of the video, I'm actually going to talk about a little update I made on some of the hero packs from the previous episodes. Unfortunately, there's only actually going to be one small update on something from the previous episode, which is going to be the Mark 42. So if you guys haven't seen the previous episode, just make sure to go check it out real quick. Leave a like down below if you guys do enjoy the series. And for the update, what I added was... let's first see the animation for the equipment once more. Boom. And I was also added some boosters, so we were able to fly just a little bit. Obviously, it's not like creative mode flying. And if you control it right, you can always, mitigate the fall damage. So, how effective is this in a real life sense? So we'll just go check it out real quick, Just have a little fly view over the house. A little fly over the house, go over this way. There you go. So if you time it right, you can always, remove the fall damage, so that's good. So it takes a little bit of skill to actually play instead of being in like creative mode. And unfortunately, the bad thing about this is that since it is actually using the levitation potion effect, it doesn't actually work inside the water. So as you can see, I have a bunch of this and I don't want to go right there, but it will work as soon as I jump right out of the water. So it's still good if you want to make some like snarky escapes, but other than that, still a little tiny little flying effect to the suits. Alright, so unfortunately, one of the things I do want to change is try to see if I can make it go a little bit faster, make it so that I do have like a boosting effect perhaps. I think that would actually make the viability of a flying mechanism really nice, especially for something that's dedicated for the survival gameplay. So other than that, this arrow right here, the texture is actually borrowed from somewhere. I don't quite remember where, but it is going to change. It's actually just a temporary texture that I wanted to put, just so I am aware that it is a modified item. And what I mean by modified item is something like these. These are just diamonds, these are crossbows, retextured using the new custom model data MBT tag, and a custom resource pack, of course. So other than that, I actually don't have too much of additions I do want to talk about the Mark 42. I think so far it is really meant to do what it's supposed to do, especially like in the movies. However, of course, like every other Iron Man suit, I do have to have some cool functionality, such as like an arc beam or some movie features. I can always add something like that, but that is also for future videos. So with that in mind, let's go over to the next segment of the video, which is actually going to be a new application in the 4 application slots, I would say. So the new application is actually the suit catalog. So if I press suit catalog, it's going to give me a number pad. So if you see on the right side on the screen, you'll see a small little scoreboard that I do have to remove in the future. However, because I had a few tests during the week, I didn't have too much time to work on it. So this is kind of like a very beta version of the suit catalog, but let's see what it does. So we have 2, 3, all the numbers you see. These 2 are going to be delete and enter. Of course, I do have to edit the texture soon. I'll be doing that for the next episode. So far, there's only going to be 1 armor that I did put in. Otherwise, all the armors are not in just yet. However, in the future, I do plan on putting pretty much all armor types and all the marks inside this data pack. Alright, so if you guys are interested, just make sure to leave a like and, just stay on the channel. Subscribe. You guys could always get some notifications from me. And other than that, let's see what this actually does. So for the first armor that I actually did input into the system, since I only had limited amount of time, is the Mark 26. So if you guys don't know what the Mark 26 is, I'll actually post a little screenshot on the video. So what the Mark 26 is, it's like a little heavy industry, industrial type of armor with some jackhammers and a nice feature that's cool and kind of missing from other armors. So one of the features is that it does have a giant jackhammer on both arms, and it looks really nice. So let's actually see it in game, enough of the picture on the side. So if I press 2 and 6, it'll tell me in the left right here, first input, second input, 2 and 6. If I press delete, it'll say deleted, and I can do a different one, so I can say 2 and 5. However, since we don't actually have Mark 25, we're just going to do Mark 26. So Mark 2 and 6. If I press enter, it'll say armor selected 26. Same thing with this one. I do have to retexture this, but if I press this, boom, we have Mark 26 right in front of me. So if you guys look closely, of course, these are just armor stands. There are actually going to be 2 armor stands on top of each other. So one has only the weapons, so these 2 right here, and the other one is the full armor, as well with these custom models of stone little plates, I suppose. I don't know what they're called, but this is just to act kind of like a little rib cage opening up to me. Since starting from a certain mark, I believe the Ironman armors have a donning system, meaning they come as a suit and you could just equip them by going into it. So one of the features I did want to add in but couldn't make it work was that I wanted to make sure that the player had to be on the same rotation value as the armor. Of course, plus or minus maybe a few degrees, but other than that, I couldn't make that work because there is a bug going around where if you do rotate it in a certain amount as the player, sometimes you actually go into the negative zone for your X rotation. So, enough of that technical little jumbo bumbo. Let's just jump right into it. So if I start sprinting into the armor, you hear that sound, and the armor gets equipped straight into you. So that is my little version of the donning system. So if you guys did enjoy that, that's pretty cool. Other than that, that is pretty much the end of today's video. And if you guys are just wondering, a little curious what these are also custom models that I made for the armors itself. I have another one for the Mark 25, which is just another version similar to Mark 26, something like a little heavy industry, heavy lifting armor piece with jackhammers as well. So that's the end of the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please do leave a like. If you guys haven't checked out the other 2 episodes of Heropacks, please make sure to go and check them out. Otherwise, I have a bunch of other videos on my channel, mostly related to superheroes. So if you guys are interested, please do check those out. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing, because I do make a bunch of hero content. And if you guys do have any suggestions, leave them down in the description below. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.